It was Sean Strickland versus Magomedov. And, going in, I think we talked about it last week when we were reviewing the card. I'm like, this is actually a decent card. For
There's some
being a
fun
fight
fights
night.
on it.
Yeah, not sure about the main event. We talked about Sean Strickland always being a main event for fight nights. He's like the fight night main event king.
Yeah.
Is there?
Yeah, pretty
I wonder
much.
if we could just find out, Rich, in the background, if you could find out how many fight nights Sean Strickland has been the main event of. But I feel like it's been at least like 4 or 5, though. No, in the last year.
Yeah, 4 or 5, and yet he still hasn't beaten anybody notable. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
Shout
it's
out
crazy.
Toasty though. Toasty's here.
Hey, shout out Toasty. Love that
Got
guy.
a big fight coming up. Also, shout out real quick. Shout out Jesse Strader. Got a finish last night in the co-main event.
Hey,
shout out Jesse Strader.
Another one of our guys right there. But hey, by the way, I feel like almost every other week we're talking about a fight that Toasty has coming up. That guy is more active than anybody in the world, dude.
Yeah, that's crazy.
He just wants to fight. I love it. But we had Sean Strickland versus Magomedov. Sean Strickland has that classic style where he kind of just shuffles forward. Yeah, with that guard. He's willing to pepper you up. You know what I mean? A little pepper. And Magomedov started off a little fast that first round. I was like, okay.
Some would say a little too fast.
Yeah. But, he
should have told him to slow down.
Brought the heat to Strickland. And at first I was like, okay, if he can maintain that pace, we got some trouble. And the second round started, I was like, oh, no, he can't. He can't maintain that pace,
And
but
Toasty says ICarly stands for the win. Rich, if you can find a picture of ICarly in her MMA bout and we can pull that up, that would be fantastic.
Oh my god!
I wish that was joking, but that's a thing. But I thought this right here from Magomedov, I thought that was perfect, right? The front kick to the body, because when there's someone who's just going to walk you down like that, and that with the ICarly stance, just completely squared off to you, not bladed, right? Just walking you down like this. Dude, just front kick to the body over and over and over again, because he's just going to keep walking into it. He's doing half the force, he's bringing half the force. And I thought that was a perfect game plan. We talk about how Strickland, he keeps main eventing even though he hasn't really beaten anybody notable. And it's like, man, how is he getting so many main events? How did Magomedov get this main event? Look at that. Classic.
Oh my god, that is beautiful. That's such a good comparison.
Shout out Sean Strickland. But man, I think if he just stayed a little bit more patient, and maybe if he wasn't having his second UFC fight as a headline, he would have stayed more patient, maybe, because that game plan was perfect. Other than that, he was just throwing these big overhand shots, and that's the opposite of what you want to do to someone like Sean Strickland. Because those big overhand shots, he's able to lean away, he's able to frame off, catch him like way out here, and you don't really end up close to him with those punches. And throwing big overhands and missing, that'll zap.
That's a lot of energy. That's a lot of energy, man, for sure.
So it's like,
who doesn't
his game
expend
plan
a lot of energy?
What's that? Pitter patter.
Dude, just because it's the same thing, and if you were to go 5 rounds, and I think this is why so many Sean Strickland fights go to decision, is because he doesn't mind being in the ICarly stance for 5 rounds, peppering a few shots here and there, being patient and picking his shots. And he's not putting too much behind him. They're just straight shots right down the pipe if he can, right? In this case, like the picture that Rich put up, it's Magomedov. I believe this is when he was up against the fence a little bit, and he's trying to fire some shots back as Strickland was peppering him up, and Strickland just takes a little step back and just bink, little, right hook right to the chin.
You say that as like efficient. You say that as like it's a exact moment of the fight, when it was the entire second round of the fight.
It was entire.
Because man, the first round, I would imagine, I would be surprised if because Magomedov took that first round, right? There's no way he did it.
Yeah.
Let me see really quick. Rich says 5-ish main events for Strickland. Ooh. Which is crazy.
Yeah, that's nuts. That's a lot. That's a
lot. But I'm pulling up the scorecard right here. All 3 judges gave Abus the first round, which he should have. But man, it's like his game plan was to zap the energy of Strickland with those front kicks, but then his game plan was also to zap his own energy, just throwing massive haymakers. And it's like, dude, it's like, did you see Alex Bejeda knock him out and think, cool, I just got to swing hard at him and knock him out? Because it's not that simple. It's not like Bejeda just threw some haymaker and knocked him out. It was calculated, It was like an actual answer for the way Sean Strickland strikes. Like going into it, everybody was saying this is like the worst matchup for Strickland because the way he throws his jab, the left hook is gonna land. Like it's literally his most frequent entry is the exact entry that Alex Bejeda wants to counter with his left hook.
Yeah,
and it's like that's a very specific thing. You can't just swing wild at him because he will lean back, he will frame off with his shoulders, and you're just gonna like blow your wad. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, he was exhausted like 10 seconds into the second round.
And again, for somebody that doesn't expend too much energy, as soon as Sean Strickland smells blood like that, man, he'll just push up against you. He will put you up against the fence and just continues throwing those small peppering shots until one of them lands, man.
Yeah, there was a flurry that he landed where he really started opening up, where he's throwing the 1-2. Like it was literally like one of those things where it's like, all right, build off the 1. What comes after the 1, the 2? Cool. It's just like textbook stuff, right? Like not any like crafty combinations. He was literally just, it was like jab, cross, hook, uppercut, jab, cross, hook, uppercut, like over and over and over again. It was literally just like the most fundamental, basic combinations. But Magomedov was just so exhausted, and he just kept landing that this is like what you would expect at the end of the fight, or like the end of the rounds, like the 5th round, 4th and 5th round. That's what you kind of would expect. It's like after the pitter patter shots for 3 rounds, you're exhausted, right? Instead, it was just the beginning of the 2nd round. Strickland already had him gassed, but it wasn't even Strickland that had him gassed. You know what I mean? Because it wasn't that avalanche of accumulation. Because Strickland didn't really land much in that 1st round. It was just
and
someone who's had their second profile or second UFC fight as a main event. Probably not the best idea.
The thing that we think about when we think about somebody getting gassed is their shots getting a lot slower, right? Like their punches are a lot slower. You can actually read them a lot easier. But the other thing is, when you bob and weave and you're labored at that point, it's a lot easier to kind of read that too and know exactly where you're going to be. And that's where Sean Strickland starts getting really good, is where he starts punching you where you're going to be versus where you're at right now, because he sees you bobbing and weaving really slowly and really labored. So it's so much easier for him to be accurate.
Yeah, and like that, if you're going to be doing that against Sean Strickland, that's like I was talking about how Bejeda wants to fight someone like Sean Strickland who enters like that. But Sean Strickland wants to find someone who's going to back up and try to slip his shots. That's exactly who he wants to fight, because while you're slipping, you're not throwing anything back, and he can just stand right in front of you and just keep throwing. And that's all he does. That's all he trains. He's constantly in that zone. So like you're literally fighting him where he's most comfortable, which is terrible.
It's working from man. He climbs to 27-5. He calls out afterwards. He's like, "Give me a title shot." It's like, bro, you just beat this dude that had his second fight in the UFC, and then the announcers were like, that was his best performance so far.
It's like,
okay, but I don't think
he's ranked 7 going into this fight. Yeah, he's ranked 7 going into this fight. He fought a guy who's not ranked. Fought a guy who is his second UFC fight. No, I don't think he gets a title shot. I think he maybe gets the loser between Whitaker and Duplessis. I feel like that's maybe a good move, And by that I mean he'll fight Duplessis next, because there's no way Duplessis beats Robert Whitaker. I think that's
come on, man, with a name like that,
dude. Come on,
you never know.
I do.
All right. Anything else on the main event? There wasn't really much to it.
No, I mean it was basically Sean Strickland beating a guy. He got a finish. That's cool. Andrew Toasty says. Getting 100% on a second grade math test isn't impressive. It's a litmus test at best. Yeah. It's like, great. Sean Strickland beat a guy who shouldn't have been in the main event.
We talked about this last week, right? Going into this, you see this and you're like, okay, Sean Strickland should win this one and should win this one easily. So he did his job. He did what he was supposed to do. He did what people were expecting him to do. No, not his fault at all. Props to him for getting that job done. But don't come out afterwards and be like, well, after this, I need a title shot. Like, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Come on.
I mean, shoot your shot, I guess. But
I I guess, man, shoot for the stars, so that if you don't land there, you land on Duplessis. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Hey, everybody, Romero and Will here. Thank you so much for watching that short clip. It's just a small clip of what we covered this last Sunday.
Yeah, if you want to check out the full fight card recap, the link is in the description, and it's going to be on screen at the end here. Don't forget to go back and watch our fighter interviews that we have. And don't forget to tune in live every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. Pacific, 12 p.m. Eastern, and you can join in on the fun.
Yeah, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. It goes a long way. All right, everybody, thanks for watching that short clip from Story of the Fight.